What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. Today, we are going to be running over coins that you guys suggested for me to check out. Technical analysis on the projects that you guys want me to cover. I posted on my Twitter as well as YouTube and in Discord and checked YouTube comments for what coins you guys are interested in personally. And today we're going to be running over as many of those coins as we can. Before we get started though, please hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber to this channel. I really appreciate every single one of you guys that subscribe. And without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. All right, you guys, so starting off today with Sheba Inu, you guys can see that we're going to be running over quite a few different cryptos as you have a lot of requests for me to run over today. Sheba is definitely a project that is under my radar, and one of the reasons for this is because of this market cycle analysis. You guys can see, go back and watch the video about how to trade market cycles, that we did have our disbelief phase, our euphoria, new paradigm, and our depression phase down here on Sheba. Now, we did have a false double bottom right here. It looked as if this was going to be a double bottom formation. Prices did fall slightly below, so that double bottom did not break out at resistance. But now we do have what looks to be a true double bottom forming here on Sheba. A lot of times you will get this false double bottom here, which is actually the anger phase of the market cycle before the depression phase, that final leg down. And because of that, we're watching for this true double bottom here. This could be a real double bottom forming, and it's actually very likely that this is a true double bottom as we've started to break resistance. With our last double bottom, we rejected at resistance. You can see in this case, we're actually breaking resistance. We started to break through on this doji candle. If we keep pushing through resistance, that will confirm this double bottom pattern on Sheba Inu here in the short term. And if it continues up, then in the big picture, we're seeing a big picture cycle reverse, which really means that Sheba Inu could go pretty high, especially if it gets up to resistance and even through resistance. Then it will be starting a new cycle. And you guys know price discovery is extremely fun to trade. And really getting in early before that price discovery in these depression phases is how we make a ton of money in the crypto space. So I really like this setup on Sheba Inu. Loving this double bottom pattern and watching for a breakout. All right, so next we're going to be talking about Casper here. Casper looks really good. You guys can see that we did get a double bottom, just like on Sheba. We broke very vigorously up through that resistance, and now we're actually in a flag pattern. So this is a bullish continuation pattern. It generally signifies that more upside is coming, especially when you have an increase in price and volume. And really, this double bottom breakout could be part of a bigger double bottom breakout forming on Casper. If that's the case, if we break above resistance, this could really go quite high here on Casper. It's worth 4 cents currently. Breaking up through that resistance at 6 cents can really send it to the sky. The sky is the limit, I should say, with Casper. And that double bottom is a very, very successful trading pattern. If you break through that resistance level, it's going to show a lot of strength coming in this market. Also, from a cycle perspective on Bitcoin, we are headed into a bull market. So a lot of these altcoins are signifying that they are also reversing bullish in their cycles. So this is an accumulation pattern. We do have a lot of good trading patterns here in Casper. And I do believe we will see a lot of upside in this market. It looks really good. So you guys are awesome for sharing these setups it's amazing what happens when I ask my viewers what they're looking at, because a lot of you guys have really good setups. So yeah, loving this setup on Casper. I believe that 4 cents is pretty low considering that we're seeing a lot of bullish setups. So long as support holds, this could go very high. You know, that resistance at just around 6 cents, if we break above that, this is going to shoot right off here. So let's talk about Polkadot. Polkadot is another coin that did a complete market cycle. You can see disbelief, euphoria, and we get the huge crash. We get anger and depression right here. And just to really solidify this in your minds, you can see that anger phase is where a lot of people get really mad that they even bought crypto. They start really just taking it out everywhere else but themselves. And that anger phase is really, really key in the cycle because it leads to the depression phase. And that's where everybody gives up. And that's the place where the maximum financial opportunity is. You can see on the market cycle, the maximum financial opportunity is at the peak low of that depression phase. With Polkadot, I believe that this is the depression phase we're breaking out of, that this was the anger phase right here. Basically, at the start of 2023, we were in the anger phase of Polkadot, and now we're breaking out of that depression phase. You can see that there is a significant increase in volume as price is rising. So this is a complete market cycle, and it could definitely turn around very, very, very strongly here off of these lows. If that is the case, then you start watching for major resistance. You've got it at $22. You basically have it all the way up. And you start watching for those levels. This is mainly because of the fact that if it does like what Injective did, where it did an ABC correction and then pushed up through resistance, it goes into price discovery, and that's where the real money is made in the crypto markets. If you can buy the dip in these big market cycles, especially anywhere near depression or anger, or even up here, if you can start buying this dip, even if you're early, and hold, when a market goes into price discovery, any short-term losses that you experienced are wiped away completely, and you're able to experience large profits very quickly, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. So that's why we buy the dip on this channel. That's my personal trading strategy, is to play cycles. I use trading patterns, I use Elliott waves, I use other things as well. But really, these market cycles is what has made the majority of my money investing. And it's what I believe you guys should be watching as well, because I've seen it work over and over again. So loving this setup on Polkadot, breaking out of depression. Let's see if it pushes up through resistance. In the big picture, over the course of X amount of years, if it gets above major resistance, the sky truly is the limit for Polkadot. All right, you guys, so let's check out HBAR. HBAR was another coin that was requested. I love this setup on HBAR. You guys can see this huge volume spike signifies a significant increase in institutional and probably at least some degree of smart retail money purchasing HBAR at these levels. You can see it started to go up. So when you have big money buying down here and then they're pushing price up through, that's usually a pretty good sign that they want the price to be a lot higher before they take profit. You can also see a double bottom pattern here on HBAR. We have not broke through resistance yet like we did with Casper or like we did with Sheba and Nu, but we are pushing up into that resistance, and as we push through that resistance, it will confirm a double bottom, just like what happened on Bitcoin at 16,000 before it broke out. So this is a very, very significant trading pattern. Again, cycle analysis is showing that this was very likely the depression phase down here. We're double bottoming out of that depression phase and getting ready for a new cycle with HBAR. So that's bottoming structure. It's actually very similar to bottom structure and bottom patterns we've seen over and over in crypto, and this is nothing new. Bitcoin back in 2018, when it reached its lows right around $3,000, did this same bottom pattern. It's actually very, very similar, and that's when Bitcoin broke out to 14,000 and then 70,000 afterwards. So these double bottom patterns can signify a bottom. They can signify a shift in momentum. And although you don't try to pick exact bottoms, when you see the pattern playing out, you're not picking the bottom, you're playing a pattern, which is different than catching a falling knife. So this is actually very good here on H-bar, loving this setup with this pattern. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Litecoin. You guys can see Litecoin also did one of these market cycles. We have euphoria, we have depression down here, and now we're in that sideways accumulation. This is what Bitcoin did in 2015. It accumulated sideways after an ABC correction, and it accumulated between $200 and, well, about $200-300 to about $180. It accumulated within a range like this, and then it actually broke out to about $500 and started a new bull market. That's what I'd love to see happen with Litecoin here. If we can break out of this and start pushing up to major resistance, finding support, then this ABC correction would really be playing out in the big picture, and you could expect more Elliott wave cycles and more bullish impulse waves to be coming after, in which case we'd very likely push through major resistance and shoot for new all-time highs on Litecoin. So I do believe that Litecoin will be bullish this cycle. Let's watch for this breakout of the accumulation pattern. But other than that, it looks a lot like Bitcoin back in 2015. There's a lot of setups that do. It just goes to show how much opportunity is in these markets. If you think you're late, think again, because there is always opportunity in the crypto space. All right, so let's look at the graph. The graph is also showing signs of a double bottom pattern. So this one is a lot like H-bar. You can see that we have this support level, we have this support level. We haven't broke through resistance yet, but we are pushing up to break through resistance and really seeing signs of strength here and a lot of volume down at these levels. So pushing up through resistance would likely take us to the next major resistance zones. Graph here will not be left behind if the market as a whole starts to take off. And I believe that this setup is definitely going to do good. I love this double bottom pattern, just like on H-bar. So be watching for that resistance breakout. The price range is about 23 cents to 21 cents. If we break above those levels, you guys, the graph is gonna take off here, at least in the short term. We'll have to talk about major resistance. We've got a lot of resistance up here, but at least down here, it definitely is showing signs that downside risk is very low and downside risk is very, very low. We're not likely to go down very much, and upside potential profit is very high. So loving this double bottom on the graph. Filecoin was another coin you guys requested for me today, and I love Filecoin as well. It looks a lot like Sheba Inu, where we got a false bottom, and then we break down below, and now we're probably forming a real bottom here on Filecoin. But we do need to push through this resistance with confidence. Now, if the rest of the market breaks up higher like we're seeing, Filecoin will likely push right up through this resistance, and we'll get a double bottom breakout pattern and start to see signs of strength on Filecoin. For now, watch that resistance level and pay attention to it. We have not started to see a lot of momentum, but that doesn't mean it won't come. A lot of coins can look like they're dead right before they take off. In fact, they almost always do look like they're dead. That's why we say buy when there's blood in the streets, when everybody thinks, oh, this is the worst looking chart ever. Because for the average investor, they see something drop and they think that's the worst looking chart ever. But for professionals, they see something drop and they say, okay, does this have a real world use case? Does this have institutional volume? What's going on here? Do we see an ABC correction? And if they see certain parameters, they'll buy it when it's low. They're not scared of it. They see a big drop as a good thing for the perspective of opportunity in investing. Loving Filecoin. Maybe not quite as much momentum here. We can see. So yeah, loving this setup on Filecoin. Watch this double bottom, and definitely one that could break out significantly as we see the rest of the market take off. All right, so Theta is a great example of what I was just talking about. How people see something drop and they think, oh, that looks like the worst chart ever. But they forget that that's what's happened with the crypto markets since the start, is these big drops that make the market look like it's the worst chart ever. I mean, even Bitcoin back here in 2015, people really would not have bought Bitcoin down here between $180 and $300. That's the accumulation range we were talking about on our Litecoin analysis. This is basically where I see Litecoin as being right now. But yeah, people forget that these big drops lead to big climbs. This crash that happened on Bitcoin is what led to the run all the way up to 20,000. And of course, this crash that happened on Bitcoin is what happened before the run up to 70,000. So they see a drop and they think, oh, that's dead. It must be dead. It dropped, people. It must not be worth anything. But no, it's probably worth something. It's just not worth a lot right now, right? It's undervalued. So it looks worthless because currently its value is very low, probably lower than it should be. That's the difference between your average investor and the one who is really good at investing. Is the average investor sees it being low and they think, oh, it's low, it must not be worth anything. A professional sees it being low and they say, what is it truly worth? If it's truly worth more than this, it's going to go to that level. Unless we get hit by an asteroid, if it's truly worth more, it's going to go to that level. So they buy undervalued and they see the opportunity. So this is an ABC correction on Theta. It looks a lot like Bitcoin in 2015. It's a huge drop. It is. It's a 90% plus decline in value. But that depression phase of the cycle generally leads to some pretty big moves and is the lowest point of financial risk with the highest opportunity. See? Lowest point of risk and highest opportunity. So when you buy these dips, yeah, of course you're buying something that's down significantly that a lot of people have given up faith in, but what's its true value? If its true value is higher than what it's at right now, if you believe it should be worth $9 or $10 in the next 10, 3, 5, 2, whatever years, and it's only worth $1 now, a good investor says, I might just pick some of this up, right? So I love this setup on Theta. We've seen this over and over again. This is nothing new for the crypto markets. It's just new for people that have never seen it. All right, so EWT is another really, really good looking chart. So EWT is another coin that we are covering today. This one, I believe, is in that depression phase because basically you can see in the chart, there's that anger where people kind of believe that's the bottom, buyers start coming in, but it pushes lower. And that's really where the depression phase hits, because anybody that didn't sell in the anger phase is definitely selling or giving up by the depression phase. And that's what you have to have. You have to have all the people that don't have strong hands out. And then it reverses. But until that point, it doesn't happen. So you get anger, then you usually get that one more drop, which is depression. And that's exactly what it looks like on the market cycle chart, is the depression phase. We don't have a double bottom forming. We don't have a breakout. We don't really have any trading patterns, but we do have the cycle. And as the rest of the market cycle is shifting, EWT has a lot of trading volume in comparison to what it used to have. Maybe not in comparison to the crypto markets as a whole, I'd have to look. But it does have a lot of accumulation volume down here on Kraken. I do believe it could take off very nicely here. Especially we can push through resistance and get up through this anger and depression phase. We'll start a new cycle here, and that will really take off here with EWT. So although we don't see any trading patterns, from a cycle perspective, it's looking really good. All right, so Zilliqa. Zilliqa is one. I actually love Zilliqa. I love the chart pattern. There's this huge pump and retracement here that happened. But from a market cycle perspective, it looks almost exactly like what you want to see. Again, you guys, this is a perfect market cycle. We have disbelief, euphoria, and then we get anger and depression down here. Very likely to be anger and depression. And if we push up through resistance here and start getting up to those resistance levels, this will be a nice rounded bottom. And it will remind me a lot of basically in 2017, we had a summer bear market where altcoins retraced 80-90%. And then right after, they shot right up and went crazy high. Zilliqa could do that. So watch for a resistance breakout, watch for support to form, and watch for that rounded bottom pattern here on Zilliqa. So Link is another example of a market cycle. You get disbelief, euphoria, and then of course the depression phase. It's doing that same sideways accumulation that Litecoin did. The only difference, you guys, is that Litecoin hasn't broke out where Chainlink has. So Chainlink is showing a lot of strength here, and it broke out of its accumulation. It would not surprise me at all to see major support forming and to see a very similar thing that happened on 2015 Bitcoin, where we broke out to 500, we started to go up here. Now it's worth $15 right now, so going to $500 per Chainlink is not what I'm saying when I say it looks like Bitcoin, but I am saying the human psychology looks the same. So it could break up to $30, it could pull back, it could go up to 40 and even go above its all-time high like how Bitcoin did and start to go into price discovery. Now that's not going to happen overnight, and while prices are down this low, a lot of people will be skeptical. I'll probably even get some people that are haters because I say this, but the cycle is showing a big picture reversal just exactly like we have drawn here. So Chainlink looks really good, you guys. I love this setup on Chainlink. Okay, last but not least, we're going to be doing HOLO or HOT. This one is definitely a prime example of what we were talking about with Filecoin, with those other coins. This is an anger phase of the cycle, and this is depression. Very likely to be anger and depression at these levels. We start to break up. We see volume spikes. So people are not only buying, but they're buying with volume, which shows a shift in momentum. Also, you have a huge ABC correction. A, B, C. We'll draw it here so you can visualize it. It helps a lot if you're new to be able to visualize. So you can see A, B, and a C wave down. And that ABC correction is very typical of a big picture reversal. It's what happened to Bitcoin in 2015. It's what happened, Bitcoin bottomed in 2015, but the pattern itself took multiple years. But the bottom of the ABC correction on Bitcoin was in 2015. The bottom of the ABC correction on Bitcoin the second time was in 2018. So HOLO is also showing an ABC correction. I don't want to call the bottom, but this could be the bottom with HOLO. I love this setup. It's a complete cycle. Breaking out of that depression. Very, very strong signs of a new cycle coming with HOLO. Hey, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. I love and appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed it, share it with your friends. Check out the website, links in the description box below, as well as the free Discord. And I look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. As always, stay profitable out there.